Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all honor, all glory, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and Shalom to your brothers that are laboring, pushing this word in truth and sincerity and with charity. I'm the brother Abraham from the camp here in GMS Chicago, coming back at you with another lesson. I was just in the middle of watching this video from the Jimmy Dore show. The video is called Bioengineered Ticks Make You Allergic to Red Meat to Fight Climate Change, right? As in a question mark with an exclamation point. And just thinking to myself, this is what goes on when you have the wicked bearing rule in the earth. Bioengineered ticks, bioengineered mosquitoes, to prevent you from eating meat, and what they say is to save the planet from climate change. All right, we're gonna be supposedly eating fake meat, artificial meat, for carbon emissions, and this is why we're gonna have smart cities, 30, if it's whatever they call it, 30-minute cities, 15-minute cities. This is what they're planning. This is what they have in store for everybody, right? Because they have that God complex in which they want control of everybody on the planet. Okay. And this is what happens when you have the wicked ruling in the earth. All right. So I have a few scriptures here. Let me just have you listen. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Let me see, where should I start at?
They remember, Lyme disease?
Yes.
Pretty clear that was another one of these COVID things where they engineered it as a bioweapon. And then ticks have it, and then they bite you, and then you get Lyme disease. Well, they got a new one where the tick bite. Remember Dylan Radigan?
Yeah.
Is this was that a secret that he said? So that wasn't a secret, right? I think he said it to us on. Anyway, I know somebody who got bit by a tick, and it gives you an allergy to red meat. So if you eat, so the problem is you don't know you have it until after you've eaten it, and it takes a couple of hours, and then you almost die. So this guy almost died, and he found out that he was bitten by a tick that gave him this allergic reaction to red meat. So now he can never eat red meat for the rest of his life. Isn't that wild? So Dr. Ben Braddock says ticks are spreading a disease that makes people allergic to red meat. Some farmers and ranchers who get it can't even go near their own livestock. Every week I hear of more cases near me. The federal government needs to treat this with much more urgency. This is real. This is real. This is a real thing. So, and look at this. Bill Gates funded research into genetically engineered cattle ticks. Now, 450,000 Americans have red meat allergies from alpha-gal syndrome. That's a real thing. Alpha-gal syndrome, caused by tick bites. Did Bill Gates do this? Look, ask Rock. Did he fund research into genetically engineered cattle ticks? Did he do that? There it is. You can tell the tick that has this because it has the one spot on its back.
No kidding.
Yeah. So what happened? His bio mosquitoes didn't work out? Remind me how meat hurts the planet again? Is it by making people physically stronger than Bill Gates? So here, this is an actual guy talking about this. This is from 2016.
So let me just bring something out really quick. Let me see if I could word this right. Okay, yeah. This is Psalms 37 and 12. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. Right? So the wicked, we know who the wicked is. All right, and he's plotting against the just with his wicked devices. All right, as the scriptures say, they sleep not unless they cause some to fall. Unless they think of some mischievous, wicked things to do to somebody. Right, and in this case, they have a perpetual hatred for you Israelites. Right, it says, "The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation." Which that's the Israelites, right? All right, but mainly the prophets, because they're the ones condemning these wicked acts, okay, and the unjust dealings of the wicked, okay, and his evil rule. It says, "Their swords shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken." Right? So they're only going to get so far with their devices and what they have planned for us and the whole world. Okay, the Lord is going to intervene eventually. All right? And just like Haman had plotted and schemed against Mordecai and the Israelites at that time, so will it be in our time, right? They're plotting this and devising that, all right, against the Israelites, but at the end, their law is to be destroyed. That's their law. Our law is to be delivered and saved. Okay, so let's go back to the video.
Mike Benz tweeted this out. At 2016 World Science Festival, this is a guy named Dr. Matthew Lau. He's a philosopher and a bioethicist. You're going to hear just how unbioethicist he is. He's openly discussing using genetic engineering of humans to address climate change. You want to hear what he says? So, by the way, I don't... Okay. Here we go.
Examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption of...
According to who? According to who? I mean, the people who've been wrong about everything? The people who said that cholesterol was bad and fat was bad? You mean those people? The people who said... Remember the people who said smoking was good for you? 4 out of 5 doctors choose Camel. Who's saying this?
Examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption of meat, then they would it would actually really help the planet. But
it would help the planet. Not really? So only cows emit methane? Because that's what they're talking about. Cows fart, and then there's methane. Doesn't every animal in the world fart? Is it just cows? You're telling me that deer don't fart and buffalo don't fart? You're telling me that rats and what are you talking about? So that sounds like another, to me, it's like until you start, like, oh, I never questioned it before. Then I'm like, wait a minute, just cows are emitting methane? Really? Not my dog farts up a storm. So how many pets are there? How many domesticated dogs are there? What about raccoons? What about squirrels? Just cows? Really? Didn't seem like anybody cared about methane releases when they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, which is the biggest release of methane into the atmosphere in the world. So this guy's sure that we eat too much meat, according to who, and of course that's bad for the climate, according to who.
Examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right?
But wait till you get the good parts coming. I know I shouldn't have stopped it, but here we go.
And if they were to cut down on their consumption of meat, then it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, "Wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it." I'm one of those, by the way. So.
Oh, you're one of those? You're one of those people who just doesn't have the willpower to stop eating meat? Okay. Are you going to test these ticks on yourself then, I guess? Let's see.
But so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins.
He's literally saying in 2016 on a panel with a microphone and a camera, he's saying, hey, maybe we can make some people allergic to red meat. This guy's a bioethicist saying, hey, let's just go make people allergic to red meat. Let's mess with their biology. Let's just do it. That's what he's saying on a panel.
And we know what happened in 2020 and what they did to the population. So you don't think they'll go ahead and do what they're talking about there? Let's go ahead and grab Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So obviously it's either one or the other bearing rule and authority, the righteous or the wicked. And when you look at the world around you, it doesn't take rocket science to see that it's the wicked that are bearing rule. So these are the wicked here, right? People like him and Esau, Edom. All right. Let's go from there to Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, right? So these powers that are ruling the earth are the wicked, right? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. All right. So these are the things that they're talking about doing to the people, to the population. All right. Even to their own people. How much more you Israelites that they hate with a perfect hatred, right? How much more you guys? If they even do it to their own people, how much more you Israelites, all right, who they hate deeply. All right, let's go ahead, continue.
There's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems.
So that's what we could do. We could just make people allergic to food, to real food. And how do you? And if society collapses, guys like him are going to be the first ones to revert to cannibalism. Hey, we could just do that. We just make people sick. This is what he's saying.
Human engineering.
So this is describing what that guy did. When he was evidently openly plotting to trigger a potentially very serious allergic disease in humans without their consent at the population level, which is ethically repugnant. Especially since researchers have found that worldwide meat intake is associated with a longer life. So, am I wrong, or did it sound like that guy's like, hey, we can just make people allergic to it? You think people are going to consent to that? No. So, of course, what he's talking about is doing it against their will. Right now, Bill Gates is releasing mosquitoes all over the place. And they're supposed to be, it's like, oh, they're going to give you they're going to vaccinate you. I didn't consent to this. So what they're doing is genetically modifying the mosquitoes. And then the mosquitoes bite you. And then something good is supposed to happen. They're already doing this. So animal-based foods, and especially meat, are vital for growth, development, mental function, and a long life. We know that genetically engineered mosquito. Now, I'm against factory farming. That factory farming is the evil is an evil. And the fact that we've allowed factory farming to take over family farms is evil. And so, don't get me wrong. I'm for the ethical treatment of cows and all animals, and I don't even eat pigs just because they're probably smarter than dogs, and I wouldn't eat a dog. And so anyway, but we know that genetically engineered mosquitoes have already been released in Florida and Texas. And there are plans to release more in California against the wishes of many residents and like me. There's no informed consent for populations being exposed to this massive experiment. Just like when they're going to block out the sun and
See, this is all what happens if the wicked rules. The earth is going to be destroyed eventually. This is why the scriptures say, let's go ahead and grab it in Matthew 24. And let's see, what verse is it? Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So if the days weren't shortened, all right, and being sped up for the elect's sake, and the world would continue the way it's going, there would eventually be nobody to save, right? Because Esau Edom would destroy not only the planet but himself, right? Though everybody would be destroyed eventually. All right, let's go ahead and grab. Let's see. I had another script. Yeah, here it is. This is 1 John 5 and 19. Let me read it in the NLT. It says, "We know that we are children of God, and that the world around us is under the control of the evil one." Right? And so, going to show you again who this world is controlled by. Now, Esau Edom didn't do this by his own might and power. He didn't get to rule the earth. Like, he just took it on his own, right? It was given to him. All right, it was given to him to punish us for our iniquities and our sins, and us being disobedient unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So now we are at the end of his rulership, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, and the elect aren't going to be swayed by the evil one, by the wicked one. We're not under the control of him, right? We're moved by the Holy Spirit, by the voice of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. All right, that's why it says, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, but it's not possible. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab 2 Corinthians 4. Let me start at 3. It says, "But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost." And that word lost goes into them that perish, right? So people that can't get this truth, understanding, right, they're just meant to be perished at the end. It says, "In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them." Right? So the Lord has angels blinding the minds of the people, our people, to not be able to understand these mysteries. All right, and what is devil mean, right? It means to deceive, right? So his job is to deceive you into not seeing this, not believing this, to not believe the truth, but to believe a lie. And 2/3 of our people are literally doing just that, believing a lie and living a lie that's going to get them destroyed. All right, but that's their lot. Okay, who has resisted his will? So 2/3 of Israel are their lives to be destroyed. 1/3 of Israel, which the elect are part of that, 1/3, their lives to be delivered and saved. All right, and if this world to continue the way it is going, there would eventually be no flesh to save. And this is why Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has to come soon. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Lord willing, this video was edifying. As always, all honor, glory, and praises goes to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Until the next time, Shalom.